This video is going to give a complete blueprint to finally get your shit together with your looks, mental health, work and relationships. If you've been in a bad rut for a long time, then this is for you. I know how easy it can be to lose your shit out of nowhere, falling into ruts where you get fat, become a recluse, lose hope, but getting yourself together is shockingly uncomplicated. In fact, it only takes 3 steps from my experience. Over the last 2 years, I finally got my life in order after actual years of being extremely overweight, pretty depressed, no loving connections, no real career or passion in my life, but things have 180'd now, and using this 3P system I'm going to show you, I've dropped 10 kilograms this year alone. I started this channel in 2023, which I'm still happily doing to this day. I actually go out and socialize and meet people now as an introvert, and my mental health is pretty stellar. I mean, I used to not view myself very fondly, but I'm a very peaceful guy these days, and if this works for me, it will absolutely work for you. So I've got a sore throat, by the way. So if you're ready to transform your looks, body, skills, traits, and just about anything you can think of, this is going to literally be the first step of the rest of your life. Look, something happened in 2022. I'm not sure what the fuck. I think it was like a mix of being heartbroken at the time, not knowing how mental health works as well. Well, 2022 came along and I ballooned, a fat little thing. And I was talking to my mate about this the other day, that 2022 in retrospect feels like a vague dream. You would think that the worst period of your life would be like this memorable, extremely painful time. But for me, it was the opposite. I was the laziest, most obese, wicked creature. But I don't remember anything because I just pushed it out of my mind. Then 2023 came along. I tried to salvage it, what I was going through by forcing myself to do a charity boxing match, which was fun, but that couldn't even get me to sort my shit out. I barely lost weight for the fight. Kept eating arse. Not literally, but like, arse food. And arse food? No, you get what I mean. My life was still on this trajectory of failure. It wasn't until June 2023. I was in my room, in my pants, a beautiful sight, and I had been reading this book called The Compound Effect, which I won't explain here, but it basically inspired me to actually sit down and start writing about what I even wanted in my life. And not very surprisingly, the more I wrote, in pants on my bed, meat sweats, it became apparent very quickly that the person I wanted to become was so far from who I currently was. I mean, I basically asked myself a question on paper. What does the best version of me look like in 5 years' time? So 26 years old at the time. And I actually started by drawing a picture of how I looked at. I'm not saying it was a good one, but I started drawing some muscles, a well-fitted black top, a nice haircut, and most importantly, I wasn't fat. I looked confident. I clearly worked out and looked after myself, which I wasn't doing any of at the time. Then I started writing about the career I wanted, which created another problem. Well, what are the skills and the traits I need to be good at my dream job? YouTube, by the way. Because I clearly didn't have those things right now. So I wrote down in extreme detail this almost perfect version of me at 26, and it became so clear what I had to start doing and start conquering to become that version. I had just given myself this habit for habit blueprint which could guide me along a path that would end at my dream character, and that's what I did. I mean, not perfectly, my food was fucked mostly, but I did the majority of it early on. I started the channel, I became obsessed with learning how to build discipline, I restarted the gym, I worked on my mental health, and because I had this character blueprint in front of me, there was so much clarity in what I had to do every day, and it was easier than you might think. Now, basically, brother, you are in big shit right now because there's a lack of clarity on who you want to become. But even if you do know, there's no clarity in the specific actions you need to take to become that person. But even if you do, being disciplined is AIDS. I'll admit it. I know how shit it feels. All right, so let's break down these 3 action steps that will get you back on track. I mean it. 1. Character selection screen. So this is what we just spoke about. Right now in your life, you're stuck on the menu screen of life, right? You're frozen, just wanking, right? Just doing that. And it's because you haven't decided on a character you want to select. What games do you select a character on? Skyrim or some shit? I mean, I don't know. Time Splitters you do. I mean, that shows how little games I play now. But if you want to actually sort your life out, the first step is to figure out the character you want to turn yourself into. He might be ripped. He might be lean. He might care about his health more than you currently do. He might be disciplined or a little bit flirty, right? He might be good at socializing or an expert at a skill. How do we properly figure out your character? We sit down with a notebook or Word document and title it the best version of you in 5 years' time. Whoever that is, start writing down the details in this order: looks, skills, traits, beliefs. It's us in 5 years' time, because we can literally never be him, because it's in 5 years. But that's not the point. Whoever you create in this journal, that is the blueprint for what you're going to do every day. If you want to become him, you know what I mean? You need to know exactly how he looks, thinks, feels, and has skills in. We detail on paper how they look, what they think, what they're good at, and what their personality is like. What this will do is it will create a clear gap, a canyon, between current you and future you. Be as vivid as possible when describing who they are, but if you're unsure, it would probably help to think of someone that exists that you admire, who you want to be more like. I have a friend who went from being, no offense, a bit of a nerd to a ripped hunk, right? He changed. If I was stuck on who I wanted to become, I wouldn't mind starting off by thinking of what he's achieved. To get your shit together, you need to know where your shit is headed. You can't sort your life out if you don't have a clear, vivid image. 2, apply shadow growth. This future you that you journaled about is larger, very large, and greater than you in as many ways as you could think of. Metaphorically, this version of you casts a shadow so big that your current self will have to expand to meet its size. You're tiny. I hope that this sore throat isn't affecting things too much. I've just suddenly thought, like, fuck, I hope I don't sound like Robert Greene right now. Have you ever heard him talk? Like, his books are cool. I was trying to listen to him on a podcast the other day, and he was like, do you know what I mean? If the character selection, Jesus, wow, my voice is losing. All right. If the character selection journal prompt was the, finished and complete Lego set, shadow growth, a term I coined last year, is the creation of the instruction manual for that Lego set that will be filled with the daily behaviors necessary to turn you into future you. To perform shadow growth, we take the greatest version of you and begin to deconstruct the daily behaviors that got him to where he is, how he looks, how he thinks, and what he does. What behaviors do you have to do daily to develop the traits he has? Write that down. What beliefs? What daily practices will get you closer to the skills of your future self? And what behaviors do you have to integrate into your life to have the looks of your future self? Chances are, the reason you're not where you want to be is because right now, you just don't do the correct behaviors. And this might feel a bit overwhelming, which is why step 3 was invented to actually make doing all these behaviors pretty addictive, like playing a game. So you're genuinely going to be able to start becoming your future self as soon as you have a list of the habits you need to start doing. So that's what we're going to do. Shadow growth. List all the behaviors you need to start in order to eventually become the best version of you. These are the behaviors that, just like watering a plant, will grow you over time until you match the scale of your future self. So the character selection left you off with the finished, clear image of the person you want to become. Shadow growth is the act of deconstructing the daily behaviors you need to do to turn yourself into your future self. But this is a big task. That's a lot of self-transformation all at once. And that's where step 3 comes in. 3, create an in real life prestige system for these behaviors. Why is it so easy to play Call of Duty 6 hours a day, or Minecraft, or level up in any video game ever, while it feels painful to study, work out, or do anything disciplined? It's because these games have created a 3-piece system that makes you become addicted to them. In order to create that exact same effect with disciplined behaviors you need to do, all we have to do is identify the system and apply it to real life actions. 1, measurability. Everything is trackable in a game, making progress immediately apparent, addictive, and motivating. So in real life, get used to tracking everything that you feel is important to your future self. Workouts, weight, work tasks, money, and the easiest way to do this is with something called a habit tracker. Basically, you might have 10 new habits, 5 new habits you want to start adopting to become the best version of you, spanning from going to the gym, meditation, to cold approach, who knows? First of all, write all of these down on paper and track them. Try to complete some of these habits throughout the day, then tick off on the piece of paper. Simple as that. You don't have to be perfect, you're literally just starting, but you need to see what you're doing or not doing. Right now, for example, I'm tracking a few things. Where I'm very focused on getting lean, I keep a daily log of my weights in my iPhone notes. Every day I wake up, weigh myself, then log it on my phone. And over time, this has become super addictive because I can visually see not only the progress, but what I could be doing better. And I also track my waist size for a bit more data. Seriously, don't underestimate how simply tracking the numbers of something creates such a weird addiction to it. Just like in Call of Duty, when you grind your camos, or Minecraft when you want to get to level 30. 2. Daily challenges. Why is grinding camos in COD so fun? It's because you have challenges to work towards. To emulate this in real life, to become addicted to discipline stuff, just create a daily task list, which I'll show a picture of here of what I do. You can easily manipulate your reward system with this. I have the things I track daily, and when I finish working, I just write a couple clear tasks for the next day, which is usually write, record, gather footage, and edit for YouTube. Stuff like that. And the more you break down the tasks into smaller, easier tidbits, the more fun it becomes, because your brain can see more progression. 3. Recruit difficulty. Now this is my secret weapon. This is what got my shit together since 2023, and I believe without this video game-esque trick, I'd be in a bad place right now. To make habits even more addictive is easy. Just make sure every habit you track, log as a challenge, is rewarded for the least amount of effort and time taken. For example, when I meditated every day for a year, I tracked it. On the sheet, I put meditation on recruit difficulty. I only had to meditate for 1 minute a day at first in order to tick it off. And I didn't put pressure on myself for the meditation to be perfect. This made it easy to stick to and eventually addictive. And I applied the same trick to all my habits. As you continue to improve at these behaviors, then you can begin to increase the effort and volume. Before you know it, you're on the exact path of the best version of yourself. And I know this trick might feel a bit weird to you, because just like me, I assume you've always tried to go all in at the beginning. You get this motivation and burst into the gym, grind for 2 weeks, 1 hour sessions, eating actually like perfectly well. But then you inevitably fall off. This trick probably feels like a gut punch to the ego, right? It would for me. I'm better than this. I know I can do these new habits for longer and better. I can go gym for an hour. I can work for 3 hours. I can meditate for longer. Look, mate, speaking from experience, if you could consistently do all that, you'd still be doing it and you wouldn't be on this video. Yes, with motivation, we can all grind for 2 weeks, but usually we'll give up because it was too intense. Think of your discipline level as a muscle in the gym. I know, typical analogy, but it's true. A newbie at the gym cannot walk in and expect to lift 60 kg on bench first day. But, alright, for the sake of argument, let's say they actually can with great effort and struggle. 2 weeks later, maybe sooner, they will quit because it was too big of a jump. This is why I strongly advocate, why do I say it so aggressively? This is why I strongly advocate for when you've been a little Oompa Loompa lazy little shit for years and you now want to get your shit together, figure out your character selection, learn what actions you need to start taking, begin to track them so it's addictive, but start small. You and I both, sadly, have to start small because our discipline muscle is small. 500 meter run, 10 minutes of work, walk into the gym, starting embarrassingly easy is the only reason I'm still here today. Not like alive, but just doing the channel. Working on videos, because at the start of my journey, I was not good enough to be disciplined. I had to start small. But I don't know, maybe you're an outlier. If so, do you. Okay, you should now know how to get your shit together. Starting with writing in great detail about the best version of you in 5 years' time. Who would you be proud to see in the mirror in 5 years? Write about him. Obsess over him. Then you have to feel his shadow, which means reverse engineering the daily steps needed to become this great guy, and then use video game mechanics, i.e. tracking, daily challenges, and putting life on recruit difficulty to make this new journey fun, addictive, pretty easy, and fulfilling, right? And that's it. That's all it took for me, and probably anyone else you've ever watched for advice like this. But this video won't help unless you actually do it, so get that notebook out. And if you start watching bloody Hamza Ahmed or something, trip down memory lane, once this video ends, and you don't jump straight into figuring out who you want to become, then you are no longer welcome on this channel, alright? You bitch. No, seriously, it is fun. Why not play some music in the background, make a coffee, just sit, relax, and figure out who you want to be in 5 years. That's actually a pretty easy, relaxing part. People won't ever put you first, buddy, until you put yourself first. Ignoring these steps is quite simply just putting short-term pleasure before your actual self. So, look, it's up to you. I don't want to be mean, but am I guilt-tripping you? Yes. Am I waffling? All right, yeah, all right, bye, be gone.